Coming up next here on the THS Digital Media Network, live here from Toppenish, Washington, an SCAC interleague matchup between the Connell Eagles and the Toppenish Wildcats. Coming up next here momentarily on the THS Digital Media Network.
Good evening. Toppenish High School welcomes you to the Wildcats Stadium, home of the Bob Winners Field for tonight's contest between the Connell Eagles and your Toppenish Wildcats. At this time, we would like to thank the Toppenish Fire Department for their commitment, dedication, and assistance to the Wildcat football program. And now for tonight's starting lineup, we'd like to welcome the Connell Eagles. And for your Toppenish Wildcat offense, quarterback number 2, senior Joshua Perez. And running back number 24, senior Timmy Torres. Running back number 1, Anthony Ozuna. Wide receiver number 4, junior Adrian Villanueva. Wide receiver number 11, senior Shane Rivera. Wide receiver number 3, senior Isaiah Maldonado. Offensive line 67, Elon Cripps. Offensive lineman 75, Adrian Barragan. Your center number 65, junior Andrew Ramirez. Offensive lineman 57, senior Joshua Luna. Your last offensive lineman number 77, junior Daryl. Test, test. Our officials for today's matchup: referee Tyler Howder, umpire Mitch Morrell, linesman Phil Lopez, line judge Todd Pogarelic, back judge Chester Adams. Connell coaches: head coach Wayne Reiner, assistant coach Scott Forsyth, Brian Anderson, Scott Morgans, and David Rowley. Toppenish head coach Jason Smith, assistants Ray Hernandez, Miguel Jimenez, Ivan Macias, Chai Maltos, Eddie McCord, Jacob Mortensen, Steve Romero, Anthony Espinoza, Martel Flores, Mario Herrera, and Isaac Aguirre. If you could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Remove your ball caps. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance.
And on the first weekend of October, on a Friday night, here, live from Toppenish, Washington, on the THS Digital Media Network, we'd like to welcome you here inside Wildcat Stadium on Bob Winters Field. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Antonio Tony D. Dominguez, and tonight, a big matchup. You got to say for both teams, even though one team is 1-4 and the other the inverse, 4-1 in the Toppenish Wildcats. Both teams looking to build off the success that they had last weekend. The Toppenish Wildcats coming off a 60-0 win over their rival, the Wapato Wolfpack, over at Wapato last Friday night. And for the Connell Eagles, finding their first win of the season last week versus the College Plays Eagles. And guess what? Tonight, they hope to be competitive and have an opportunity to win here tonight over the number 4 ranked, at least on maxpreps.com. Nobody really knows where they post the latest rankings in the entire state, at least for 1A, as the state is still trying to figure out, I guess, how to solve that issue. But either way, in the Max Preps sports polls, number 4 ranked in the state, the Toppenish Wildcats, taking on the 1-4 Connell Eagles. So anyways, this team I've been following pretty much the majority of the season other than the first game. Of course, first game versus the Royal Knights. Actually, the Royal Knights are number 2, I believe, in the Max Preps rankings. So they've definitely taken a bit of a hit, but nonetheless, one of the top 5 teams in the state at the 1A level. And of course, a lot of that is dependent on the opponents that either teams have played. Of course, the Connell Eagles, many can argue, playing just top quality teams these past 4 weeks or so, playing the teams the likes of Nooksack Valley, Othello,
1-4 in your Toppenish Wildcats.
and I believe they played an out-of-state team in Idaho, I believe. Can't remember their names, but either way, just a slew of tests from everywhere. Of course, they lost to LaConner as well. And the primary issue for them in those first 4 games is defense. From the numbers, giving up 35-plus points in each of those first 4 contests, which led them to their 0-4 record. And they're looking to prove upon that a little bit differently here tonight. So the Wildcats are definitely a marked team here in this league. And the Connell Eagles perhaps looking to salvage the season. And believe it or not, they are not out of contention for a playoff spot, even though they have a currently 1-4 record. Of course, they play out of the SCAC 1A East. And the Toppenish Wildcats, of course, to top the league at the 1A SCAC West. So these two leagues at the end of the season combine to play a crossover matchup depending on their positioning in the league conference rankings on each of their divisions anyways. And so anyways, just moments away here from the start of this contest, we'd like to thank you for joining us. We know all you Wildcat fans, and here we go from across the world. And Connell Eagles returning the ball as the Wildcats decided to defer and taken to about the 24-yard line.
On the return.
Well, the Wildcats, their defense a little bit different this season. Definitely versus Kashmir, definitely versus Washougal and Mount Baker. You can tell they do have some deficiencies. And the Wildcats are going to have to look to sort of prevent any more 40-point games, you can argue. Definitely here as the Wildcats' first defensive opportunity, and right there immediately the Connell Eagles sending one right up the middle, a gain of 11 yards. Good there to the running back.
Jackson Forsyth with the carry.
Jackson,
that's a first down for the Eagles.
Junior goes about 5'9", 220, so he's a pretty big guy to bring down. And the Connell Eagles have just been playing quality opponents, so I think the Wildcats need to be a little bit careful, thinking that they're going to come in here and handle business as easily as they think they are, considering, I mean, well, the Wildcats have had just as tough of an opening season, and right there, pass drop there by number 28 of the Connell Eagles, Kellen Reiner. Just a junior, goes about 6'1", $170. So this is the first quarter. Fortunately, our scoreboard here tonight is not available. At least not in the meantime. Hopefully it'll be up and running here soon. So we'll pretty much only be able to tell you when it's the first quarter and the second quarter. But nonetheless, we'll be keeping this action to you here live. And running back stuck in the backfield, loss of about 2 there as Jackson Forsyth couldn't see anything going
Joshua Luna on the
there
tackle.
anywhere on that run attempt. The Wildcats have gotten a little bit better
Third
up
down
front with their
and
linemen,
12.
their
That's a
defensive
loss
linemen
of
anyways,
2.
being able to gain a little bit of penetration,
Jackson Forsyth on the carry.
being able to find those angles and know their assignments, and just at the very least putting a body and not getting moved back, letting your linebackers come up and make a play on the ball. And so here we go, the quarterback, Messiah Allen, taking the snap, looking somewhere to pass, gonna have to run for it, and barely able to get to the line of scrimmage. And it's gonna bring up 4th down here for the Connell Eagles early in this one. Connell Eagles, they know what they want to do, but looks like the Wildcats sniffed that play out. They knew where it was going to go. They were able to keep the quarterback contained. And great assignment football there by the Toppenish defense. So here we go, the punt. Wildcats, almost got there, but the punt off nonetheless, and fair catch called for over at the 30-yard line by Isaiah Maldonado. It's going to bring out the Toppenish offense for the first time here tonight, early in this first quarter.
For your Wildcats.
So apologies out there, folks. The clock on your screen, if you're watching from home live here on the THS Digital Media Network, is only halfway accurate or so. Our home scoreboard and our scorekeeper down in the booth,
Wildcats 30-yard line,
dealing with some technical issues. You love technology when it works, and you don't love it when it doesn't work. So, as a common saying goes around technology and computers, you know, it can be a tough business. Sometimes some very important things are happening. You want to get a message off, you want to say hi, hey, let's go do this, and then all of a sudden you have nothing. So Joshua Perez, his first drive here, hands it off Timmy Torres up the middle, gain of about 1.
Torres on the carry, yard lane.
Timmy Torres just having a different kind of season, not having the offensive success, at least through the ground, rushing yet.
Clyde on the tackle
has yet to
Eagles.
have a 100-yard rushing game, and the closest he's come was a couple of weeks ago, or should I say last week, where he had a total of 93 rushing yards on the ground. However, overall yardage-wise, he's still pumping out over 100 yards, all-purpose yards, both through the air and through the ground. And stoppage of play here, and it's going to be a false start on the Wildcats. Still dealing with some flags. Penalties have been an issue for the Wildcats here in the first part of the season. Wildcats hoping that they would clean that up, but still their first mistake here of the night.
That'll make it 2nd down and 14.
So 2nd down, 14 yards to go. Joshua Perez is going to have to try to make something happen. Big number 11, Shane Rivera working the slot. Dumps it off to his running back. Timmy Torres finds a lane, cutting up the field, and breaking through a few of tackles and close to the first down. And I believe they are going to give it to him. And that's what we were talking about. Isaiah or should I say, Timmy Torres, who's having a different type of season this year because of the type of players they've lost, and of course due to the injury to Nick Cortez, having to take on a bit of a different role. Maybe not getting as many carries, but definitely still getting as many looks at the ball, just in a different way through the air. Got to make some catches, turn it upfield. Torres through the middle, trying to find some room, keeps running hard, and gains about 4 yards on that carry. It's going to bring up 2nd down.
Number 24 on the tackle, Jacob
What else are you going to is anybody going to be able to say about Timmy Torres? He's just able to do so many things right now on the ground. He's a very, very good, useful weapon to have. And best believe it'd be a bit of a different story if Timmy Torres wasn't able to do what he's able to do this season. So Joshua Perez sending a receiver in motion to Torres, finding a lane, cutting to the outside, and finding a big room. Can he get to the corner? And finally brought out at the 25-yard line.
Big gain.
And again, Timmy Torres perhaps hunting for that first 100-yard rushing game. Nonetheless, able to gain 100-plus yards just in total. It's just a matter of whether or not he's going to get it through the ground one day. Many can argue that should not be the case.
With the tackle for the Eagles.
But I guess we'll never know. I guess we'll find out here shortly. So Joshua Perez getting another receiver in motion. One step drop back in, met with a ton of pressure. Almost sacked there and had to get rid of it. Adrian Villanueva, the intended receiver. So talking about the changes in offense.
2nd and 10 for the Wildcats.
Of course, this Toppenish Wildcat offense graduated a big star in Jason Grant, of course, playing next level division football over at Eastern Oregon University, over at the NAIA level.
At the 25-yard line.
And so they kind of, with that graduation, they lost some speed on their offense in terms of the receivers. Now, they still have a great receiver in terms of Shane Rivera, but his style of game is definitely a lot different. Joshua Perez running out of the pocket, trying to get Shane Rivera, and gets it in there. Referee for the call. Is he able to get it? Yes, he is. Up on the inside. Cuts it.
With a beautiful pass from Joshua.
And there we go.
Perez.
Another great play there by Joshua Perez, feeling the pressure, stepping up in the pocket, going over to his left. And of course, searching for his big, tall, athletic receiver, putting it up high in the air and letting him do all the work for him. When you have a 6'3" guy and he's able to have the hops and get up there to get that ball, yeah, you want to take your chance on him, especially if you're being met with a lot of pressure. And of course, the new kicker transfer, Isaac Villanueva, chance at the PAT, and this one is good.
The kick is
First quarter, 7-0, Wildcats. We're going to take a break. Be back
Wildcats
here on the THS
7,
Digital Media
Eagles
Network.
0.
Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow, and never miss out on another THS Digital Media event. We'll be back.
.8:32 left in the first quarter. We're having technical difficulties, so we'll let you know how much time we have.
And welcome back here on the THS Digital Media Network. Still the first quarter, about 8 minutes remaining. That clock on your screen at home, not correct. Having technical difficulties both here in the booth, on the scoreboard, and everywhere. Here is the Connell Eagles receiving that kickoff and being met at the 20-yard line by a host of Wildcats. Connell Eagles met with a ton of defense on their first drive and went empty-handed.
Assist by Adam Gonzalez.
So let's see if the Wildcats can get another stop and perhaps get another score on the board here before the end of the first quarter.
It's 1st and 10 on Connell's 20-yard line.
So Connell Eagles once again just playing overall great quality opponents, and it's kind of crazy to imagine that even if they were to lose this game, they still have a pretty good shot. And there we go, being met in the backfield by a host of Wildcats. Nowhere to go there for the Connell Eagles.
That's a loss of 3 for the Eagles.
Whereas Cade Klein trying to find some room.
Adrian
So once again, the quality opponents that the Connell Eagles have been playing the first half of the season, teams like LaConner, an out-of-state team from Idaho, Nooksack Valley, and Othello. Of course, the Othello Huskies hosting the Prosper Mustangs here tonight, playing currently as we are. And a pass
Allen on the pass
completed
it's complete
to the Connell Eagles, a 3-star recruit in number 1, Cade Clyde.
Tackle, and that's good for
Cade Clyde, 3-star recruit on recruiting websites. Number 1, he goes about 6'4", 250 pounds, a big boy out there. can almost argue a man amongst boys,
First down
comparatively in
and 10
terms
on
of size and more
30-yard
likely
line.
physicality. Of course, just a very different season here for the Connell Eagles, needing to battle. And ball handed off to the running back. Finds some room, getting a burst of speed.
Magana
Wildcats
with a
and
good
finally
carry.
met there
A nice
by the
hard
free
tackle by
safety,
number
Adrian
4,
Villanueva.
Adrian Villanueva to take him down at
And a
the
big gain there
30-yard
by
line.
the Connell Eagles. You can see there for the Connell
6
Eagles, number
minutes to
21,
play
Adrian
in the
Magana,
first
just turning
quarter.
up the field, finding some room and putting on some speed there. Able to break the corner, turn it upfield, and get a big gain and a fresh set of downs here for the Connell Eagles. Of course, want to stay in this game, be competitive, needing to find a score here in this first quarter. Let these Wildcats know that they're not going anywhere. And looks like a flag on the field. And so looks like they were just communicating there. Stop the clock, make sure everything's going.
No.
Of course, the referee's on the field, keeping track of time in real time right there. Handoff. And get it
Forsyth on
to
the
the
carry
running back for the Connell
for about
Eagles,
6 yards.
Jackson Forsyth. Gains about 5 on that one. It's going to bring up second down. Right now, the Wildcats
Down to the 29-yard line.
looking to make a stop here as the Connell Eagles encroaching on some red zone territory. Wildcats did a great job on that first series, defensive series anyways, to begin this game. And they need to be able to break down here, make some good plays, prevent this team from scoring. Once again, Forsyth taking the ball and a good stop there up the middle, no
Forsyth on the
gain.
carry for about 2 yards.
So no yard gain there. It's going to be third down and about 5 to go.
Tackled by Joshua Luna.
It's one of the things that the Connell Eagles have struggled with is since they have new quarterback, they haven't really been able to find much consistency through the air. They've been mainly trying to target their opponents through the ground. Unfortunately, though, that hasn't really worked out very well in the first half of the season. Allen over to his right, trying to find an open receiver. Couldn't get it there. Pass intended for
number
28, Kellen Reiner.
Reiner.
And that's going to bring up fourth down and about 5, and looks like they're going to go for it. Well, when you're playing the fourth-ranked Wildcats, at least as it relates to the Max Preps rankings, you're going to do everything you can.
Eagles.
Take advantage of the offensive possessions you have. Now here, there's really no harm in just going for it.
Looks like
Punting
they're
it really
going
doesn't really
for
do
it.
anything, considering, well, you better have at least a decent punter to be able to keep it in bounds. Otherwise, you're just sending the Wildcats back to the 20-yard line, I should say. Allen rushing over, ball tipped in the air and falls incomplete, and turnover on downs. Wildcats going to come back
defense.
onto the field here in this
Ozuna
first
on that.
quarter.
Also, number 32, Gapika.
And that score remains
deflection.
7-0.
And that's
Let's see if the
first
Wildcats
down,
can continue
Wildcats.
with their offensive success. On that first offensive series, looks like they did everything they could. They were able to successfully run the ball, find the edge, find the middle, find the lanes to run through. Haven't really needed to pass the ball. They did have that one touchdown to Shane Rivera. But nonetheless, that play being set up by the rushing attack on the ground. So Timmy Torres so far having a great night to start the first quarter. Once again, give it to him under the middle, finds a burst of speed and another 10 yards. That young man
Timmy Torres
just
with a
looking to
beautiful
keep
run,
running
and
the
that's
ball
good
with
for
all
Wildcat.
his might.
First down.
So another set of downs. Nearing towards midfield, looks like at about their
Tackled by
own
number
42-yard
28,
line.
Reiner for the Eagles.
First down and about 10 yards to go. You know, this team has played relatively slow when opening the beginning quarters, especially in games versus the Washougal, and then versus Kashmir, and then versus Mount Baker. They're going to have to find the rhythm in there. Isaiah Maldonado trying to find some room and break across that edge and not able to find it. Tripped up and gains about 3 yards or so. It's going to bring up.
Tripped up by number 2, Jordan Mendez for the Eagles.
Second down. Second down, about 7 yards to go. Here is the Wildcats leading 7-0. Up against the 1-4 Connell Eagles from the SCAC East. Believe it or not, second in their division. Villanueva motioning across the field. Gets that dump off, passing that screen. Looking to break big one and finally makes it past the first yard marker. Gain of about 12 yards on that reception.
And that's good for Wildcats. First down.
So Wildcat first down there. As the Wildcat offense just finding the rhythm finally here in the first quarter, first half of the contest.
For the Eagles. Beautiful pass.
What else is about to happen?
By number 2, Joshua Perez.
Well, when you find rhythm, you find patience, you find those patterns, and you're relaxed as Joshua Perez is right now. That's what's going to happen. Snap back to Torres and tripped up
2 minutes
near the backfield, able to make it to the line of scrimmage.
Timmy Torres on the carry.
Yeah, Timmy Torres last season having a great season with 1,000 yards rushing in the season. More than likely isn't going to have that same success on the ground. And oh no, it looks like right now he's coming off limping a little bit, so he might need to take a short break. Looking like it's hopefully nothing too serious. But in for the Toppenish Wildcats, Keanu Zuniga, the backup running back. Of course, the Wildcats do have a stable of running backs, and that's going to be a false start against the Wildcats. Second penalty of the night.
Start on the Wildcats.
And again, same thing keeps affecting the Wildcats penalty-wise. It's those on offense and the offensive line. Of course, a new group of offensive line this year. Had a couple of seniors graduate from last season that were all league players. So that definitely changes the experience you have up front. Joshua Perez. Bootleg out to his left side, trying to find some space instead, going to try to take it himself, and does.
Quarterback keeper Joshua Perez.
And Joshua Perez
tackled by number 44.
Able to gain about 5 of it back. 6 of it back looks like.
Vincent for the Eagles.
So it's going to bring up third
down.
Good
for about 5 yards.
So still in the first corner here, folks.
That'll make it
if you're watching at home, that clock is not accurate, but however, the score is 7-0 here in this first quarter. The number 4 team ranked in the state, at least via Max Preps, taking on the 1-4 Connell Eagles. And looks like timeout called on the field, as looks like offensive coordinator Miguel Jimenez
and that's
not liking something and decided to call the timeout. So we'll take a short break here on the THS Digital Media Network. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. Never miss out on another THS Digital Media event. Be back.
1:43 left in the first quarter. Wildcats have about 3rd and 8 yards to go.
And welcome back here on the THS Digital Media Network after a timeout by the Toppenish Wildcats here on offense. Joshua Perez looking to get this play off. Gets the snap, stepping back, moving around, dumps it off to his receiver. And Keanu Zuniga tripping up after only a gain of about 3 yards. It's going to be 4th down, and I believe, this is going to be the first time the Wildcats are going to have to punt here tonight.
And that'll make it 4th down.
See, I think a lot of people might be underestimating how competitive the Connell Eagles are this season, playing a ton of quality opponents to open up this first half of the season. And when you play teams like LaConner, when you play teams like Othello and Nooksack Valley, those are quality teams right there. Each of those teams are ranked in their appropriate division, and missed tackle there in the back. And the Wildcats able to contain it and bring the returner down there at the 15-yard line. And that's where the Connell Eagles are going to have to start their second offensive drive of the night. One thing about the Wildcats is, at least right now, they're taking up time.
2-point takedown for Zuniga on the tackle.
So first down and 10 from, looks like it's going to be about the 16-yard line. Around 16-yard line. And let's see the Connell Eagles can get going here tonight.
50 seconds remain.
Eduardo, should I say, excuse me, McKay Barbrake. New quarterback in, and Cade Clyde met by a host of Wildcats. And barely able to get back to the line of scrimmage. And they do have a new signal caller in there.
For the Wildcats.
So right now, looks like they have Carson Lloyd, a young sophomore, in at quarterback. Foregoing Messiah Allen.
Make it second down and 10 to go.
And let's see what they're going to do here. And indeed they are. That's a new quarterback. That's not the original starter for the Connell Eagles at quarterback. Instead, it's number 12, Carson Lloyd right now. Perhaps still trying to find that consistency, and met in the backfield again.
On the carry.
Barely able to get back to the line of scrimmage again. And so far here for the recent inserted quarterback, Carson Lloyd. And you got to believe that this team is just trying to find some consistency at throwing the air through the ball. And they haven't been able to find it yet. And I think the Connell Eagles, if they want to at least be able to have a shot at competing for a crossover game and perhaps a shot at a state berth, although be it a very low seeding it will probably be, well, it's going to take some time, and you're going to find your quarterback. But when you're already almost halfway through the season, tough task ahead of you. We're at quarter break. We're going to take a break. Be back here. End of the first quarter, start of the second, coming up here on the THS Digital Media Network. And welcome back here on the THS Digital Media Network. So we're going to be at the beginning of the second quarter. So the Connell Eagles, third down and long, coming up for them. Quarterback rolling out, throwing a long one, and way overthrown out of bounds.
Number 12.
It's going to bring up fourth down and 10, and got to believe the Connell Eagles are going to be forced to punt that one away. Connell Eagles just
on the deflection.
On offense, looks like they were close for a moment, making it all the way close to the 20-yard line the last time the Connell Eagles had the ball on offense, but Wildcat defense looking like they found their identity, looking like they found their rhythm these last couple of weeks, just playing tough opponents. And blocked! Wildcats trying to recover, and finally brought down there. Connell Eagles recover, but nonetheless turnover on downs, and the Wildcats will begin this possession inside the 25-yard line. The special teams, at least when it comes to attacking the ball, that's been one of the Wildcats' stronger suits this season. haven't really had that much success in terms of field goals, PATs, and even some punts.
On Wildcats 22-yard line.
And the Wildcats just putting good pressure on there. Able to meet the point of attack and block that punt. And great starting field position here for the Toppenish Wildcats. So first down and 10 from about the 22-yard line. Timmy Torres handed up the middle, gains about 2 yards on that carry.
It's good for about 2 yards.
Timmy Torres rushing for about near 50 yards now. You got to believe. We'll check in on the real-time scoring statistics at halftime. But nonetheless, Timmy Torres
Ball's on the 20-yard
has
line.
yet to have a 100-yard rushing game. Came close last week, 93 rushing. But nonetheless, effective by other means. Joshua Perez stepping up in the pocket, running away and trying to flick that ball and get it to one of his outlet receivers. Ball falls incomplete.
Intended for number 15, Alex
It's going to bring up third down.
For the Wildcats.
Joshua Perez just met with a little bit of pressure, had to get out of there. He's doing a good job of just stepping up a little bit now in this contest instead of running to his immediately to his right or to his left. Oftentimes when you're a young player, especially at this level, you're just used to, I'm going to take off to my right, I'm going to take off to my left instead of stepping up and then taking off. Joshua Perez stepping back, going backwards, trying to find an open receiver, finds Torres, and a flag going to be thrown.
Timmy Torres.
We don't know what this could be. Perhaps a pass interference call. We'll see. Could be holding as well. So it's pass interference against the Connell Eagles. Pass interference. Well, that's against the Wildcats, they said.
That's us. Offense, pass interference. The Eagles decline. That'll make it 4th down and 9 for the Wildcats.
So 4th down and 9. And the Wildcats, I believe, are going to go for a field goal. They have their new kicker out there, a transfer, I believe over from Wapato. Isaac Villanueva, the new kicker for the Wildcats. Been getting some reps in these last couple of weeks. Able to get the kickoff, and is he able to make it through the uprights and too far to his left? And the Wildcats perhaps didn't want to come out with no points on that one, but they know that the PAT has been one of their sore spots opening up this first half of the season. They've been trying to get that game straight, but have yet to find it. And the new kicker, the transfer, and Isaac Villanueva having a shot there to warm up his leg and get his first regular field goal of the season. Not happening just yet. Well, no harm, no foul, considering the ball sits at the Connell Eagles' own 20-yard line. No harm, no foul in that attempt. But perhaps that being one of those situations where you got to come out with some points. And indeed, that's probably going to be very important, especially once this team heads into playoffs. You got to be able to convert on those. Points might be hard to come by. Quarterback throws one up in the air that could be picked off, and no, so close. The Connell Eagles inserting a different quarterback, number 12, Carson Lloyd. He's just a sophomore. Messiah Allen started the game, and we have yet to see him back on the field as a quarterback anyways. So very interesting moves being made out here by the Connell Eagles. They're trying to find a spark. And perhaps maybe they've, to a certain degree, conceded some things. Perhaps just trying to put their best players out there and maybe some of those players are a little young, trying to give them some good minutes against some good teams, build up some experience for themselves for next year. Ball dumped off there to their running back, finding some room, trying to break through some tackles, and finally met down. And then flags coming through, perhaps a holding call coming on the Connell Eagles.
Tackled by Adrian Villanueva.
There as Adrian Magana breaking through momentarily for a big game, but we'll see what these penalties are about. And looks like the Eagles are gonna definitely going to be charged with a penalty, and that's going to bring that ball back. Well, when you take a look at this team, it's just a different set of players comparatively to what the Connell Eagles have had over the past decade. A decade plus, we could argue. Of course, over the last couple of years, just all the league changes, team switching, and of course, when you have what was an upstart at the time, the Toppenish Wildcats, when they decided to move, I mean, they were already coming off some successful showings in the CWAC before coming over to the SCAC a couple of years ago. And this is going to be something, nonetheless, that the Wildcats have definitely benefited from, stepping down a level. Of course, those new equity rules in terms of sports, free and reduced lunch numbers and percentages, all of those numbers now being accounted for in terms of where a team or a school, a district can play at in terms of level-wise. And you know what? I'm gonna be honest with this. You know, at the time when these plans were being made and these things were being passed through and getting ready to be executed, I was skeptical about what would be the result of this. But you know, after seeing and understanding more about how schools work, how communities work, and the different minorities and classes and stuff like that occur all around the state and around anywhere in the United States, it only makes sense. I mean, some regions are able to afford, some communities are able to afford to send a ton of players, and oh no, ball up in the air and almost intercepted there.
Luis Gatica, assisted by
and
number 10,
the defensive back almost there, making a play at it. Had his head right there. Knew where it was going momentarily, but just not able to make a play on the ball. And that's the second time tonight the sophomore quarterback for the Connell Eagles, number 12, Carson Lloyd, has made here tonight. So just some dangerous long attempts, but when you have a young quarterback like that, and when you're facing off against a tough team like the Toppenish Wildcats, and there he goes again, trying to find it, and again the defensive back coming up and making a move. Great coverage there on Landon Choi. No flag on that possession, and once again the Wildcats forcing another empty possession.
And that's 4th down for the Eagles.
So right now we don't know what these Wildcats are going to be doing
Number 3
exactly on offense. But we know one thing, they're going to keep attacking. So that ball going to be safely punted away by Magana. It's going to take a Toppenish bounce and then a Connell bounce, and then stop at the Wildcat 46-yard line. So anyways,
Magana was on that punt.
A couple of games occurring last week, or should I say last night on Thursday, due to the lack of officials. Some high school football varsity games being played on Thursdays and Saturdays. Check your local listings for more information on your local team if you're in the state of Washington. Ball handed off, and Timmy Torres finding, or should I say Zuniga there, finding no room. Barely able to get back to the line of scrimmage. In fact, lost 2 on the carry.
Loss of 2 on the play. 2nd and 12 for the Wildcats.
So 12 yards to go. Second down.
Wildcats on their own 48-yard
Wildcats had a great
line.
first offensive drive, have stalled since then.
2nd and 12.
Midway through the second quarter, approximately. Of course, that clock on your screen, folks, at home, not correct. The scoreboard here at Wildcat Stadium. Not working. Isaiah Maldonado breaking free and finally brought down near the 30, 25-yard line.
Good for Wildcats. First down.
And what a great slant route there from Isaiah Maldonado on the inside right there, able to get his defender to get off his feet. Cuts to the inside, open for enough time there for Perez to see him, gets it to him, and Isaiah Maldonado getting a nice big gain and fresh set of downs here for the Wildcats. So Joshua Perez now right back onto the field. Snap, scanning the field, having to find a way in his pocket. Finds some room. Way across this field and wide open, Isaiah Maldonado for a 25-yard touchdown pass. And look at that, the Wildcats and Joshua Perez, and especially, I mean, ill-advised at throwing across your body and a flag thrown after the play. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Looks like it's going to be on the Connell Eagles.
That's unsportsmanlike on the Eagles.
So that's going to be enforced on the kickoff, I believe. But what a great play, what a great read there by Joshua Perez. Well, if you look at that again, that play breaking down, that pocket breaking down, forcing Joshua Perez to run over to his left. He's looking to his left, he's going to his left, and then able to peek over on his corner to his right, and right there just wide open, all by himself. How by himself was it? Well, you bet you a pretty girl would have gone up to him. He was just so alone. And right there, Joshua Perez across his body, finding Isaiah Maldonado for a wide open touchdown. Snap, gets it through, and PAT good there by the kicker Villanueva. 14-0 here, second quarter. We're going to take a small break. Be back here on the THS Digital Media Network. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. Never miss out on another THS Digital Media event. And welcome back here on the THS Digital Media Network, getting ready for kickoff as the Wildcats is going to kick off actually a lot deeper. 15-yard personal foul assessed to the Connell Eagles after the Wildcat touchdown from Joshua Perez to Isaiah Maldonado. 25-yard touchdown pass. And Joshua Perez continuing his impressive season here tonight. With just the way he's played, especially against tough teams like Washoe and Kashmir.
27 for the
What else can you expect from him, knowing that a lot more responsibilities are going to be put on his shoulder? If he wanted this team to succeed and go as far as he wants it to, he's the one that's got to start by leading it. And so far here in the first half of the season, he's done that. Won 4 games so far. Looking to continue that here tonight. Perhaps end it with the W here. Connell Eagles looking to get a return and finding no room there for the kickoff return team. There as Chase Nielsen tried to get a good return, but nothing coming there as the Connell Eagles will start at their own 19-yard line.
We have the owner of a Chevy Equinox white. Please move your vehicle. A white Chevy Equinox, if you can move your vehicle.
So much more to come here. 14-0. The score Two passing touchdowns from Joshua Perez. One of them to Shane Rivera, the other one to a wide open Isaiah Maldonado. And once again,
Forsyth on the carry.
Forsyth trying to find some room to run. Nothing.
Tackled by number 77,
and once again,
Leslie.
The Connell Eagles forced to play their backup quarterback, a young sophomore, number 12,
Luis Mendoza.
Carson Lloyd. He goes about 5'11", $165, and once again, just a sophomore, so he's going to have to get used to this speed as the starting quarterback to open up this game in Messiah Allen for the Connell Eagles. Something's going on. Ball almost picked off again, about the third time here tonight, here in the first half, that there have been dangerous pass attempts there from the quarterback. Messiah Allen was the starting quarterback, and he's a senior. And he hasn't really made it back onto the field after the second series. So this might explain some of the difficulties on offense that the Connell Eagles are currently facing and dealing with. Stepping back, trying to find some room again, and ball underthrown. It's going to bring up fourth down, and it's going to force the Connell Eagles once again to punt.
The intended receiver broken up. But number 1.
So really, it's quite amazing sometimes
Anthony Ozuna.
when you just have a bad season, and perhaps you might want to note this one in the history books, at least for the Connell Eagles, and for anybody that follows Washington State small schools football. Magana able to put that one away, high arcing punt. It's going to take a Wildcat bounce, and the Wildcats going to get started at their own 41-yard line.
First and 10 on the Wildcats' 41-yard line.
So upcoming notes, of course, senior nights happening here towards the end of the October month of October. I will be on call for a few games, not related to football. We're going to do one Wildcat girls soccer game. More than likely, it's almost guaranteed there as Timmy Torres running to his left side, finding the edge, breaking through and getting to the sideline. And finally brought out of bounds after a 15-yard carry there from Timmy Torres, as he is starting to get close and breaks over the 50-yard rushing mark here in the first half.
Out for Trey Price for the Eagles.
Timmy Torres just finding his identity. A very versatile weapon, able to pay out of the backfield, able to play a little bit of slot. He's able to catch that ball, and that's on top of him being able to run it, and that's his primary purpose down on the field. Perez pulling it, finds some room, finds a lane, and trying to break some ankles, and finally slides for the first down.
And that's good for Wildcats. First down.
So Wildcats.
Do we get the owner for the white Chevy Equinox to move their vehicle immediately, or it will be towed? It's in front of handicap parking, and tow trucks are coming out. So if you have a white Chevy Equinox, if you could please move it immediately.
So there, if you're hearing that through our sound system.
First and 10.
So a fresh set of downs here for the Toppenish Wildcats. Joshua Perez, Timmy Torres once again on his right hip. Hands it off. Torres running up the middle, keeping it, and able to get about 5 yards on that carry. Second down coming up.
6 yards.
14-0 in a little under 4 minutes remaining here in the second quarter. Wildcats trying to finish off this quarter with another score.
Jacob Davis.
Well, the Wildcat defense have played extremely well here in the first half. Able to make everything work. Now they're just hoping to continue the good times rolling. I mean, they've had a great last 3 weeks, beating some very, very top competitive teams. One at the 2A level and a couple at the 1A level. And there to the outside, Villanueva finding the room and the lane, and touchdown. Third touchdown from Joshua Perez, this time to Adrian
And that'll
Villanueva.
be holding on the
Oh, no,
Wildcats.
and that one is going to be called back. Late flag there.
Perez with a beautiful pass to
I'm going to
Villanueva.
have to replay that one,
Be called
bring it back. It's unfortunate. Well, some unfortunate situations. And so now Joshua Perez hoping to make up for that last mistake. Taking a look, dumps it off back to Villanueva, finding some room and able to gain
Perez
about
on the pass
3
to
yards
number
or
4.
so.
Adrian Villanueva. Cade Clyde on the tackle.
4 yards looks like it to be exact.
But not
It's going to bring
before.
up third down and about
Gain for the Wildcats.
4 yards. And you got to consider the Wildcats are more than likely going to go for it if they get to fourth down.
Own yard line.
So I think the Wildcats just run the best plays you can in this situation. I mean, if you're looking to keep trying your PAT, which there's no harm in, I mean, that game is going to have to eventually come into play. Perez finding some room, Torres, and able to walk in to the end zone. Finally, Joshua Perez, his third passing touchdown of the evening to Timmy Torres. One to Adrian Villanueva, one to Timmy Torres, and one to Shane Rivera. Much like Joshua Perez is in basketball, playing the point guard position, just able to distribute it all across the field, all across the court. Doesn't matter what sport he's playing. He knows how to find his man. And right now, just showing off, showing it to all the world. And here from wherever you may be listening and watching this at, what Joshua Perez is capable of, putting up this team 20-0 after that missed PAT.
Number 27 for the Wildcats, no good.
So perhaps meaningless or perhaps not. Wildcats able to get another touchdown. Missed that PAT, but nonetheless, 20-0 in this contest between the second place in the East of the SCAC 1A. Wildcats up 21-0. Take a small break. Be back here on the THS Digital Media Network.
Kellen Reiner back to receive for the Eagles. 5:02 left in the second period.
Welcome back here on the THS Digital Media Network. Kickoff here, 5 minutes remaining
Number 27
here in the
for
second
Wildcats
quarter
to
after
kick
the
it off.
touchdown to Timmy Torres. Got a dump-off pass from Joshua Perez for his third passing touchdown of the evening. Timmy Torres finding his way into the end zone via the air first here tonight. And the return there stopped at around the 28-yard line for the Connell Eagles. That's where they'll start again. So once again, keynote here tonight.
Leo Bancourt on the
Wow,
tackle.
should I say the Connell Eagles started
Accompanied
with
by number 18, Adam
quarterback
Gonzalez.
number 5, Messiah Allen, a
That's
senior,
first
and
down and 10
currently
for
right
the
now
Eagles
leading that team in the quarterback
on their
position
own
is
29-yard
young
line.
sophomore, number 12, Carson Lloyd. We don't know exactly. We'll see what's going on. We'll hopefully have some rumors and some reports as to why that could have been. Perhaps just a coaching decision. Maybe there's some injuries at play. The more we know, the more we'll bring to you as fast as we can. And timeout called on the field by the Connell Eagles. Take another timeout. Be back here on the THS Digital Media Network. Hey, if you haven't done so already, make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. Never miss out on another THS Digital Media event. And welcome back here, THS Digital Media Network, after the timeout by the Connell Eagles. First down. Takes a snap ball on the ground and forced to land on it. And then about a 6-yard loss on that. Second down. And that Wildcat defensive pressure just being felt there by the young sophomore quarterback and that offensive line of the Connell Eagles. Just a different season than from the seasons they've had these past 15 years. Pretty much ever since this Wildcat team joined the SCAC, the Connell Eagles just having trouble finding a win against these Toppenish Wildcats. Lloyd throws the ball there, and ball behind the quarterback.
Flags on the play.
Cade Clyde there, the intended receiver, big tight end, and some flags came out. I wouldn't necessarily call that a personal foul, but it looks like the referees are going to see it differently. So if that's the case, it could be a spot foul. It shouldn't be targeting or anything. There was no helmet used. It was just an attempt to bring the player down. And to be honest, I mean, he had that ball in front of him, or should I say right behind him. So he did try to make a play on the ball, and the receiver trying to bring him down. I mean, it did not look like he got there late at all.
Personal foul against the Wildcats.
Again, 20-0 is the score here.
That'll be close to a first down. Looks like second down and 1 to go for the Eagles.
So it looks like it's not going to result in a fresh set of downs, but nonetheless,
that'll bring the Wildcats back.
It's going to move them, actually.
First down for the Eagles.
First down after the referees correct that. So fresh set of downs here for the Connell Eagles. About 3 minutes or so remaining. Magana running through some tacklers, finding some room, and still running hard. Finds about 12 yards on that carry by himself.
Anthony Ozuna with the assist.
Trying to keep track of all of this action that's occurring, especially ever so now that there's no live scoreboard available to us. Of course, if you're watching at home, you got that one right in front of you. Unfortunately, the live clock is not running, is not accurate. So we're about under 3 minutes or so, perhaps under 2 minutes now at this point in the second quarter. Magana getting the handoff, finding a corner and trying to find some room, just not able to find anything.
Magana on the carry.
And able to get about 7 yards on that one. Good gain. But trying to find the big run on that one.
Knocking on Wildcats' 41-yard line.
So for only the second time here tonight, the Connell Eagles with the chance to get some points, and only their second time inside Wildcat territory. Can the young sophomore quarterback get them to their position? And Magana tripped up, but not as he carried the first down. Got the first down on that attempt.
But that's a first down for the Eagles.
And somewhat looking like the Connell Eagles finding some rhythm through the ground.
That's 1st and 10 on Wildcat.
That might have to change.
38-yard
Unless
line.
the Connell Eagles are able to score here before halftime, they're going to have to abandon that game, or should I say at the very least limit it, because guess what? You need as much of that clock as you can, especially considering you're down about 3 scores at this point. Snap to Lloyd, back to Magana, finding a lane, breaking through some tackles and getting some good yardage on these carries.
That's good for about 7 yards.
So the Wildcats appear to be putting in fresh bodies now.
8-yard carry, second down.
One of the advantages that the Wildcats have at this point, and it's a result of the program they've built here, is they've been able to have plenty of quality rotating players in besides just the starter, so they never feel like they're out of bodies. Right there, Magana trying to find some room again, but this time met at the line of scrimmage.
21 on the carry.
And right there you can clearly tell, I mean, they subbed in some fresh bodies, and that was, you could probably argue that was a difference maker on that particular play. When you have fresh bodies, you're able to penetrate a little bit harder, you're able to run up the field a little harder, not to mention just able to recognize where you're at on the field and try to make a play.
It's 3rd down and 2 for the Eagles.
3rd down and short, 2 yards to go. Looks like they're going in the power I formation with the fullback. See what they're going to do. Going to give it to the running back. He's going to power through, gain about 5, and picks up a fresh set of downs. So the Connell Eagles
Angelo Simmental
being told to hurry it up. Definitely under 2 minutes left here in this first half. Again, the clock in front of you. We are in the 2nd quarter. However, you're not running and not accurate, as our scoreboard, even on the field, is still malfunctioning. So under center again, Lloyd stepping back, trying to get a quick pass off, and a timeout called first by the Wildcat defense.
Timeout for the Wildcats.
We're going to take a break as well here on the THS Digital Media Network. Wildcats hoping to keep the score 20-0. Hoping to head back into the locker room and keep it that way. Be back.
It's 1st down and 10 on Wildcats' 26-yard line. .55 seconds left in the first half.
And welcome back here, ladies and gentlemen. 55 seconds remaining here in the 2nd quarter. So 1st down and 10. So it looks like the Connell Eagles are going to have a chance to end this first half. And being brought down in the backfield. Lloyd and a host of Wildcats back there. And so the Connell Eagles going to call one of their final timeouts. It's going to leave about 40 seconds or so on the play clock.
Joshua Luna on the tackle, assisted by Luis Mendoza for a big loss.
Well, that's the difference.
46 seconds.
We'll see what the Connell Eagles are going to try to attempt. Whether they're going to keep shooting for the end zone or whether they're just going to be patient, perhaps just attempt a field goal, try to get some points on the board, regroup, come back after halftime and just see what you're made of. Wildcats, of course, one of the top teams at the state at the 1A level, facing teams like the Washougal Panthers, Kashmir Bulldogs, the Mount Baker Mountaineers. Those are all very tough teams and, of course, atop their appropriate leagues and divisions. Of course, the Connell Eagles just having a different type of season, putting themselves through a similar test in terms of the quality teams they've played. Teams like LaConner, Othello, an outside team over in Idaho, and, of course, Nooksack Valley. Some of those close games. Lloyd hit under pressure and incomplete. It's going to bring up 3rd down. It's going to stop the clock.
Incomplete pass for the Eagles.
But time is starting to tick away here in the first half for the Connell Eagles. Very tough test against this number 4 ranked, at least in the Max Preps rankings. Number 4, Toppenish Wildcats.
16 to go. 40 seconds left.
The way the Washougal, remember, they play at the 2A level, and then Kashmir, they're atop near their league, and they have a very big game this week. Lloyd throwing it up. DB playing it for all the marbles and able to knock that one out of the hands of the receiver, and looks like their big receiver, their tight end, Cade Clyde, having a hard time getting back up, and looks like he's holding his left leg, and it doesn't look good.
For the Eagles.
And able to make it back up onto his feet, but feeling the physicality of this team now. And of course, not feeling that much better when your team is down 20-0. And what's going to happen here? Delay of game, perhaps, on the Eagles.
Flag on the play. Delay of game for the Eagles.
So that's confirmed. It's going to send them back 5 more yards, and 4th down and nothing to go. And perhaps at this point, if you're the Connell Eagles, do you even want to go for it? Might as well just kneel it and go into go into the locker room.
21 for the Eagles.
You're kind of conceding something if you do that, I guess. But, I mean, when you have a sophomore quarterback who's just barely seeing some minutes now, I mean, do you really want to put him in that risk? He throws the ball, and once again, and looks like they're going to throw a flag again.
Flag on the play.
Flag after flag. Once again, the Wildcats just not able to go a game without finding some yellow. With all that laundry that's been put out on the field, you have a feeling, well, who's leaving all this fabric around? Who's leaving all this cloth all over the place?
They're calling that a pass interference on the Wildcats.
You bet. You know, if that were my mom, if that were my mom, she'd be saying, why is this place? Why are these pieces of cloth all over the place? Why? Why are there so many? And so, looks like it's going to be a spot foul. So either way, it's going to be 4th down. So it's 15 yards, but does not give them a fresh set of downs.
28 seconds left, 4th down and about 5 to go.
So 28 seconds remaining. The Wildcats hoping to keep this team shut out. Going into the locker room. Lloyd, long ball, playing it, and finally picked off by the Toppenish Wildcats. And number 32, Luis Gatica.
With the beautiful defensive play.
And the defensive backs for the Toppenish Wildcats had that one read all the way. Carson Lloyd just still have yet to find those appropriate minutes and have that experience to be able to look off your receiver and, of course, have better timing on that ball.
Wildcats.
But when you're such a young and inexperienced player, I mean, those are going to be some of the
20 seconds left in
hard,
the half.
rough patches that you have to deal with.
And that'll be a Wildcats.
And, I mean, we don't know what happened to the starting quarterback, which was number 5, Messiah Allen, to start this contest, but has not been back up on the field so far here tonight. Joshua Perez. Long ball. Shane Rivera, and he got it. Not being brought down. Can he make it to the end zone? Finding the speed, and can he get there? Does he get the referee? Where is he going to get marked?
The referee called him short at the 1-yard line.
So referee saying he got short. And so, amazing.
2 seconds
A
left on
great
the clock.
receiving pass.
With the 79-yard
A great pass there from Joshua Perez to
from Joshua Perez
Shane
to
Rivera.
Shane Rivera.
Looks like he came up just an inch short or so. But nonetheless, a few ticks remaining on the clock. They're going to try something here. And so I believe they called a timeout. And they believe they did. So they're going to take some time to regroup here. The final waning seconds. Trying to get the right personnel Probably only have enough time for perhaps one play, maybe two. Don't exactly know how much time is left on that clock. But what a big play there to close out this first half. That's what Joshua Perez was looking for the entire time, and Shane Rivera, not necessarily the speediest guy out there on the field, but definitely can hold his own. And right there, breaking through, making a great play on the ball, and putting it right at the 1 yard line for the Wildcats. Let's see if they can put this in here before the end of this first half.
Torres in the backfield.
Joshua Perez hands it off to the middle goal line. So they gotta go. They gotta go.
And that's the end of the half.
And that's the end of the half. So close to getting another touchdown before going into the locker room. 20-0 is the score. Wildcats leading here at halftime and holding the Connell Eagles scoreless. 3 passing touchdowns from Joshua Perez, 1 to Adrian Villanueva, 1 to Shane Rivera, and 1 to Jose Timmy Torres. We're going to take a break. Be back. Statistics and more from around the league here live on the THS Digital Media Network. Make sure, if you haven't already, to like, subscribe, and follow. Never miss out on another THS Digital Media event. We'll be back after this.
Chip.
License number BXL2148, the Chevy White Equinox. You're being towed at this time and cited.
5.5 minutes left before the second half is played. Remember, we have hot dogs, hamburgers, and Red Bull drinks, candy and pop being sold at concessions. Also, if you want your Wildcat gear, also being sold right next to the concessions, Creative Threads, with all your Wildcat needs. As we get our second half rolling, Wildcats will be receiving. Number 21, Adrian Magana will be kicking off to the Wildcats. 24, Timmy Torres. And number 3, Isaiah Maldonado.
And welcome back here on the THS Digital Media Network. About to begin the second half, beginning of the third quarter. Magana, outside kick, and are they able? I believe they may have gone on top of it. And I believe they did, or did they?
Onside kick for the Eagles.
The referees are still out there discussing.
Talking whether it went 10 yards, and they're saying it's first down for the Eagles.
So it looks like that was awfully close from up here in the booth. Whether or not that ball skipped 10 yards or not. So trying to get a spark going here for the Connell Eagles. Running very well there to end the second quarter. Of course, sticking with the sophomore quarterback, number 12, Lloyd. And there was Magana.
Magana
running up the middle.
Tackled by
getting it
Angelo
about 2
Simmons,
yards. Third down, or should I say second down coming up.
Seth Ordaz and Luis Mendoza.
Well, when you have a new quarterback in there, a quarterback that you didn't necessarily game plan for
the Eagles,
it kind of changes the way you want to direct this game and what the offensive coordinator had drawn up for this week. Right now, Lloyd just hasn't completed a pass just yet. High in the air and able to get his first completion of the contest.
To number 2.
Gets it into the hands of Jordan Mendez.
Of the Wildcats. Jordan Mendez with the first down reception for the Eagles. That'll be first and 10.
Second string quarterback taking the Connell Eagles the rest of the way, and Carson Lloyd, just a sophomore. First completion of this contest, and has this Connell Eagle offense on the move. And off to Magana, finding a lane, skipping through, over to the left, skips over, trying to break through some tackles, and finally brought down there by the Wildcat linebacker, Seth Ordaz.
We have a Honda Pilot with their lights on in the parking lot. Honda Pilot. If you own a Honda Pilot,
a ton of flags coming up, and I believe it's going to be holding against the Connell Eagles. Unfortunate situation if that is the decision here by the umpire. Personal foul against the Wildcats. Personal foul against the Eagles. So offsetting penalties, they're going to have to replay first down.
Both parties. Penalties will offset.
It's again another flag added onto this contest. The Wildcats
first down.
have yet to be in a game where they haven't gotten 5+ penalty flags in the contest just yet. Looks like their average at this point is about 9, close to 10 flags per contest. And it's just an amazing thing to, still consider you're already midway through the season and you're still dealing with those type of penalties. Lloyd, pass to the outside high there for his tight end, but able to complete it. Second one of the game.
Good for a
Gets it there for a gain of about 5 yards. It's going to bring up third down.
By number 55 to the Wildcats,
second down.
Accompanied by number 7, Jeremiah Zuniga.
So the Wildcats hoping to keep this Connell Eagle team in check. 20-0 the score currently. Wildcats just not able to find anything. I should say the Eagles not able to find anything just yet. Lloyd gonna take a shot, ball, and again
Pass
another
deflected
missed opportunity there by the Wildcats.
Mendoza.
And right there, Luis Mendoza having a chance at that
10
interception.
minutes left in the
And we talked to
third
Coach
quarter.
during halftime. Simple
That'll make it
one sentence
third
response.
down
What
and
needs to
6
happen in the
go
second
for
half?
the Eagles.
Take advantage of those opportunities. In the first half, they had a shot at 3 interceptions. They only had one of them go their way. And 2 missed touchdown opportunities. They got to capitalize on those. That's what Coach is trying to reach through and tell this team. Lloyd, it was left. Ball thrown out of bounds. Trying to find his intended
Lloyd
receiver, Kellen
with an
Reiner.
incomplete pass intended for number 20.
Brings up fourth
for the
down.
Eagles. That'll make it 4th down and
This
6.
is going to make the Connell Eagles go for it. Nothing to really lose here. You could punt it. So the team right now lining up.
Magana in the backfield.
Quarterback Carson Lloyd
out to
dropping
pass.
back. Long ball and way too far up
Incomplete.
ahead.
Intended
Jordan
by number
Mendez,
2,
the intended
Jordan
receiver.
Mendez. Keanu Zuniga in.
Carson Lloyd is still a young player.
In on the coverage, flag
I
on
mean,
the
he
play.
had a bit of an opportunity, but just a little late with that throw. Couldn't get really settled in with his feet.
Personal foul, chop block on the Eagles.
So
Wildcats decline. That'll make
this
it
team nonetheless
1st and 10 for the Wildcats.
struggling to get anything going on offense, and now the Wildcats with their first offensive drive of the second half.
Torres in the
Give
backfield
credit to this team.
for the Wildcats.
Connell Eagles playing well defensively. It's their offense right now that's prohibiting them from being a little bit more competitive. Dumped off there to
Torres with a beautiful screen
Torres,
pass to Torres
and able
for
to
a good
get
8 yards.
8 yards on that
That'll make it
reception
2nd down and
from
2 to go
Perez.
for your Wildcats.
Perez with a little over 200 passing yards in the first half. Tack on
Number
another 8 on
44
that one.
tackle for the Eagles.
Of course,
Colton
along with 3
Vincent.
passing
9
touchdowns.
minutes left in the third quarter.
Joshua Perez just having another great year. He's had to put this team on his back. He's had to distribute this ball, and he's done it very evenly here tonight. 3 different receivers with the touchdown. Torres making his
on
way
the
through the
carry.
middle. Able to get
That's
another
good for
fresh set of downs
Wildcats.
after a gain of about 3
First
yards.
down.
The Wildcats are going to
Cade
continue
Clyde on
to
the tackle for the Eagles.
move forward, attack the ball through the ground, not let anything stop them. This Connell Eagle team, it's a tough team. Indeed it is. It's just unfortunate, I believe, just the tough schedule that they've played here in the first half of their season. And this team is still growing. The Connell Eagles are still learning some things. And Torres jumping his way, weaving
Timmy
his way
Torres on
through,
the
at least into some
carry.
positive yardage after a gain of about 2.
Looked like
Almost
it was
met there
good
in the
for about a
backfield.
yard. Tackled by number
It's gonna
1,
bring up
Cade
second
Clyde
down.
of the Eagles. That'll make it 2nd down and 9 for the Wildcats.
So Timmy Torres nearing 75 rushing yards on the ground, not to mention about 20 receiving yards off 3 catches or so. So nearing 100 total all-purpose yards, and there he goes, Adrian Villanueva getting the reception, breaks free, trying to find more room, and finally brought down at around the 28-yard line.
About a 25-yard gain, and that's
Exactly
good
at the
for
29-yard
Wildcats.
line.
First down.
And another first down here coming up for the Wildcats. Are they going to be able to have the good times rolling? Well, that's what they're doing right now. Nothing different is changing from the Wildcats' game plan besides just running it and throwing those underneath bubble screens, dumping it off when Joshua Perez just doesn't see anything in the middle or downfield. Of course, the Wildcats don't necessarily have the same speed to be able to blow the top off of defense, but nonetheless a threat in the middle and in the short game, especially with all these playmakers they have in the backfield. Perez dropping bound deep. Can't find anywhere to go. Reversing field, finding some blockers. Long ball, finding it, and ball tipped there by the Connell defense on first down.
From Perez.
Could have been a very dangerous pass there.
To Shane Rivera.
As the Connell Eagles defensive back, Chase Nielsen, closing in on that pass. And able to tap that one down. Well, Shane Rivera was right there, and perhaps, I believe, Joshua Perez just didn't put enough air under that ball, trying to get his big receiver, Shane Rivera, who has the hops, who has the ability to get up there into the air and grab it. Didn't put it up high enough, and luckily that one wasn't picked off. So Wildcats looking to come out of the locker room and get a score. Dumps it off Timmy and dropped it there.
Incomplete pass intended for Torres.
It's going to bring a third down. A rare mistake there from Timmy Torres.
In on the coverage.
All-league player from last year here in the SCAC. Effective both through the air and on the ground. Of course, last year rushing for over 1,000 yards.
Torres in on the backfield.
And putting up about another 400 or so yards through the air. Excuse me, through the receiving. And there, Timmy Torres gets it, dumps it off, finds a lane to the outside, and finally out of bounds near the 13-yard line.
For a beautiful 20-yard gain, and that's good for.
And now Timmy Torres, over 100 all-purpose yards, both receiving and rushing.
Kellen Reiner in on the
This kid is not stopping here tonight. Well, that's what you need. And you got to believe that's what offensive coordinator Miguel Jimenez is building off of. Just knowing the capabilities of his players and, of course, the specialty that he has in his quarterback. Able to make good decisions. Torres finding some room, breaking through some tackles, finding a lane, and tripped up near the 10-yard line. But looks like a holding call is going to be called. Perhaps on the Wildcats. Let's see what the decision's going to be.
Trey Price was in on the tackle.
Timmy Torres making some great maneuvers there in the backfield, almost brought down. And it's going to be against the Eagles. So a little bit of a change up there. Not often you see the Wildcats not getting a flag on the play.
Automatic first down for the Wildcats.
So first down nonetheless here for the Toppenish Wildcats. Offense opportunities coming here. In this situation, let's see who you want to go towards. I mean, you got Shane Rivera, your big 6'3" wide receiver who was able to jump up there and get it. Wait a minute, and now they're reversing it. Wait a minute.
Holding on the Wildcats. That'll move them back 5 yards.
So that was an interesting play.
Scratch that, 10 yards.
We call it one way, now they decided to call it the other. Well, that's somewhat unprofessional, I believe. Of course, here in the state of Washington, doesn't matter where you are in this state, lack of officials all over the board in any sport. We understand that environments and how tough it is to referee sometimes. I mean, all my years working in sports, definitely seeing the change in attitude and change in culture. And you have to, you know, sometimes you do believe that unnecessary abuse is taken by some officials. And hopefully we're able to find the proper balance to find more officials and also have better officiating in any sport. And again, that just comes with the culture change. Reinforcements of what we want to see from our fans, what we want to see from students and parents. There's the WIA putting out a statement a couple of months ago on the message that they want to throw there as a keeper from Joshua Perez.
24 on the tackle, Jacob Davis
It's
for
going
the
to bring
Eagles.
up third down and about 20 to go. See, now's the point where you want to figure out what you're going to have to do here to either get yourself a first down or at least give yourself a good shot at a first down. Otherwise, you just want to take a shot to the end zone, which regardless,
4 minutes.
this is probably 4 down territory for the Wildcats.
Period.
They're going to have to figure out where they want to go with this right now. 3 seconds remaining on the play clock. Able to get the snap off to the back. Finally, Maldonado able to get a long ball and completes it to the end zone. Hangs on to it and touchdown. Adrian Villanueva from Isaiah Maldonado. And believe it or not, the next leading passing touchdown, the next leader for passing touchdowns, believe it or not, is Isaiah Maldonado, his third one of the season. They've been very effective in running that play all season, right when they needed it, right when they needed to make a big play. That's what's been happening. Put a reverse pitch back to Isaiah Maldonado, who is, I mean, at this point, when you have 3 passing touchdowns and you're not even a quarterback, you have at least an ability to throw that ball. Maldonado puts a snap down,
And the
kick
extra point
up, and good. 27-0 now the score. Wildcats leading in this one. We're going to take a break. Be back here on the THS Digital Media Network. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. Never miss out on another THS Digital Media event. Wildcats leading 27-0. Be back.
.419 left in the quarter. And that's an unsportsmanlike for the Wildcats. That'll be assessed on the kickoff. So they'll be kicking off from the 25-yard line. Colton Vincent in the backfield to receive.
And welcome back here on the THS Digital Media Network. Getting ready with about 4:23 remaining here in the third quarter. Wildcats leading this one 27-0. Of course, here as we have our fantastic Wildcat cheerleaders throwing out to our fans here in the stands. We hope, especially if you're a THS alumni, you one day make it back here and attend one more game featuring these Wildcats.
Isaac Villanueva to kick it off for the Wildcats.
So Isaac Villanueva getting ready to kick this one off.
Vincent Freeman in the backfield to receive for the Eagles.
So this one, of course, being placed way back here at the 25-yard line after the personal foul penalty. Return here coming for the Eagles. Coming through, and Adrian Villanueva with the good hit there. On the Connell Eagle returner, Chase Nielsen, number 15, and another penalty coming out.
Flag on the play.
And unsportsmanlike conduct this time against the Eagles. So
Personal misconduct on the Eagles. That'll be a 15-yard penalty.
So that's going to negate that return that they had, pretty much send them back to where they would have probably originally gotten the return. Just mistakes on both sides penalty-wise. These Wildcats
was on the tackle, accompanied by
hope they make a change here.
C.J. Torres.
So Wildcat defense now on the field. Connell Eagles, Carson Lloyd, quarterback. Lloyd hands it off.
Jackson Forsyth on the run.
Forsyth
Met up
running up
by a whole bunch of Wildcats.
to the right side, able to gain about 8 on that carry.
Looks like
No points
Simmons
here
on the
tonight
tackle.
for the Connell Eagles.
That'll make it second
Have
down.
not been able to find any
about
rhythm
3
here
to go
tonight.
for the Eagles.
Connell Eagles 1-4, and then for the first time in a long time, beginning this season 0-4, earning only their first
3:40
win
left in the
just last
third.
week versus the College Place Eagles. Or excuse me, the College Place Hawks. Magana hurdling through a couple of players, able to pick up the first down after a gain of 7.
Jacob Davis on the run. Magana on the run. Scratch that. Tackled by Ozuna from the Wildcats.
So now the Wildcats giving up a little bit of ground, and the Connell Eagles slowly moving the ball downfield. Carson Lloyd, sophomore quarterback again, holds it off, hands it off, and Forsyth brought down in the backfield. Loss of about 1 on that one.
Loss of about a yard on the play.
Second down coming up. Well, it's just unfortunate. Sometimes you just
Tackled
are
by
missing a
Joshua
few
Luna.
pieces on the offensive side for Connell. I mean, they have a 3-star recruit in the tight end, number 1, Cade Clyde. But
That'll make it
obviously,
second
when you
down
have
and 11 for
your
the
second-string
Eagles.
quarterback in there right now, more than likely, there's no way that didn't change up your game plans. And even though you have a big receiver that is more than capable of making a catch, making a play, just a lot
Ozuna
tougher
in
when
on the tackle.
you have an
Completed by
inexperienced
number
quarterback
23,
trying to make the
Landon
best he
Troy.
can out of what he has.
That's good for about 5 yards.
So a 5-yard completion there for Lloyd.
Pass by Carson Lloyd from the Eagles.
It's going to
That'll
bring
be
up third down and about 7 yards
7
to go. Still more. Wildcats hoping to get a stop here on the defensive side of the ball. This one coming up. Lloyd for a long ball. This one, a lot of air under it, and that one falls short, incomplete.
Incomplete pass. Carson Lloyd intended for Landon
So
Troy.
the Connell Eagles are going to come up
Great
empty-handed
coverage
once
from
again
number
as
7, Jeremiah
the
Zuniga.
Wildcats are able to hold the Connell Eagles to
And Adrian
nothing
Villanueva.
at this point. And now, punt situation coming. Looks like the Wildcats are going to try to block this one.
Flag on the play.
Being run up.
10 on the
Finding a
run.
good lane there.
Keanu
And a
Zuniga with a
return.
great 8-yard.
And another flag on the field.
And flags on the play.
But anyways, it was already a flag to begin with, so this might be another offsetting penalty. Looks like the Connell Eagles may have had a false start before that punt even went off. So right now the official is explaining the situation. And the officials now coming up to explain it. Looks like the ball will still be with the Wildcats. And so this might be a re-kick. We'll see. Now so it's a false start first. So this is definitely going to be a re-kick. And finally, so false start first on the Eagles. Special teams. And then
personal foul
on the Wildcats. And, I mean, that came after the play. They're offsetting penalties at the end of the day because that play wouldn't have occurred had the first play not occurred after. And so looks like they will be getting a fresh set of downs after it's all said and done. An unfortunate situation for the Wildcats.
That'll be a first down for the Eagles after a 15-yard penalty on the Wildcats.
And so right now, timeout called after that situation was figured out. Take a small break here on the THS Digital Media Network. Be back shortly.
Give it up for your Wildcats cheerleading squad.
And welcome back here on the THS Digital Media Network as the officials are once again reviewing the previous play and set of actions. Remember, 2 penalties put onto the field. First penalty against the Connell Eagles, false start on their punt attempt. And I'm pretty sure they may have gotten that one wrong because either it's going to be offsetting penalties or you take them back and then move the ball 15 yards because one penalty can't really supersede the other. And so I believe that's the mistake they're probably going to recorrect right now because, I mean, you're the first one to commit the one penalty can't happen without the other. And so right now, it looks like they're going to get the official stats and words on what's going on here. I mean, they're being explained the situation, but I mean, what else is supposed to happen? I mean, you're lined up for punt formation, and then you get a false start first on the kicking team, and then
over the penalties.
And then, I mean, the play doesn't count. Regardless, I mean, if it is, again, I mean, you just re-kick it. There's no penalty assessed. There's no yardage moved. I mean, if both teams get a penalty, they offset. And if they do, well, first you move the yardage back 5, and then you add the 15. And so it's false start, offsetting, and then they should be able to re-kick this.
Looks like it's Wildcats football.
So they did reverse that call.
10 for the Wildcats.
And so since the Wildcats, so that makes more sense now. So the Wildcats are going to, pretty
After
much.
the personal foul, it'll be at the Wildcats.
So the Wildcats
26-yard line.
Pretty much somewhat declined, you could say,
First
the
down,
false start on the Eagles. And since they're going to take the punt, they'll just take the punt and then, of course, minus 15 from the dead ball foul, or should I say from the dead ball spot, once the
Looks like it's at the 23-yard line for the Wildcats.
returner was brought down. But looks like they got everything corrected, and both sides are at least understanding at this point. Perez, snap, gets it to the outside. Ordaz Running, and then another
does on the
flag
run for the
again in the
Wildcats. Flag on
backfield.
the
That's going to be
play.
another hold, more than likely, on the Wildcats once again. I mean, penalties have
Tackled
just
by
been a
Chase
problem for this
Nielsen
Wildcat team.
From the Eagles.
They've come out with wins, but at some point you cannot
Holding on the
afford
Wildcats.
any of these little
5
mistakes.
yards.
We know that the schedule for the Toppenish Wildcats is relatively easy from here on out. Their only major opponent they got to worry about is Zilla, but that's at the end of the season. And then another flag happening. What in the world is going on here?
Another flag on the play. Unsportsmanlike on the Wildcats.
And another one. So these flags just keep coming. They're nearing 10 flags once again. Wildcats just can't get away from it. And with the amount of laundry they've received this season, why not open up a laundromat place? Got to send those to the cleaners.
Possess the ball at their own 5-yard line.
So the Wildcats are going to be able to reset. Let's see what they have planned.
Looks like 1st and 27 for the Wildcats. With a minute 30 left.
So here we go as the Wildcats back on offense, and we're just checking in right now. 21-10 the score in the top CWAC matchup this week. Crossover at Othello. That ball is intercepted by the Connell Eagles.
Pass picked off.
Joshua Perez trying to make
4,
something
Jackson
happen. Nothing
Forsyth.
there, and a great play there from the Connell Eagles defensive back,
That's 1st and 10.
Jacob
for
Davis.
Connell.
And that's going to give the Connell Eagles a great starting spot on offense. And this is dangerous. Wildcats only up 27-0. It isn't an insurmountable score to overcome.
Minute 24 left in the third.
So third quarter here. Less than a minute 30 remaining. Under center, ball given. Magana met in the backfield.
Magana
Minimal gain.
in on the carry.
But anyways, folks, if you're tuning in here on the THS Digital Media Network, the other big game here in the Valley, not even happening in the Valley, over at Othello in Othello, Washington. Othello Huskies versus the visiting Prosser Mustangs. If you want to tune into that game, head over to jeffplaysports.com. Unfortunately, audio only, but anyways, if you want to check in on that game, jeffplaysports.com. Mustangs down 21-10. Connell Eagles. Lloyd under center. Toss to the other side. Magana trying to find a lane. Through, hurdles a player and out of bounds near the 7-yard line.
7 pushed him out. Jemiah Zuniga.
It's going to bring up third down
Wildcats.
for the Eagles.
Make it 3rd down.
Joshua Perez, just the cost of that interception, just pressure up the middle. Should have probably just thrown it out of bounds or thrown it at the feet of his receiver instead of trying to make something happen in that.
36 seconds left in the third.
I mean, there was just a load of bodies in the middle of that field. Just trying to do a little too much in that situation. Let's hope that doesn't happen again. Lloyd, the sophomore quarterback, taking a look, passing. Ball is intercepted! And bringing it all the way out to around the 15-yard line and eliminating that threat. No flags on the field, and the offense will have another chance at the ball before the end of the third quarter. And Adrian Villanueva with his second interception of this contest. He's playing great today. No doubt about it. He's making things happen, and he pretty much read where the quarterback was going to go with that. Able to read the route, jumped in front of the receiver, and I mean, the quarterback still young, timing not there just yet, and that was all the difference in terms of that turnover occurring. Perez, another shot on offense. He's going to hand it off. Torres trying to cut it upfield. And being brought down in the backfield after a loss of about 6 yards.
Clyde of the Eagles.
Cade Clyde coming up and making a play, and Timmy Torres coming up limping a little bit.
That'll be the end of the third quarter.
And the Wildcats are going to let this one run out, and that's the end of the third. Fourth quarter coming up. Wildcats, after a mistake a few drives ago, back on offense, still leading 27-0. We'll be back here on the THS Digital Media Network for the start of the fourth and final quarter. Here, live on the THS Digital Media Network. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. Never miss out on another THS Digital Media event. Be back. Welcome back here on the THS Digital Media Network. Hey, I'd like to give a shout out to all of the Wildcat alumni and friends from across the valley. All the way from Clay Elum to Ellensburg, all the way down to Prosser and Othello right now with Jeff Play Sports broadcasting over there. Hey, shout out to Carlos Ramirez and the Ramirez family. Carlos, Oscar, Isaiah, and Cesar Ramirez family. What a great group of running backs they were able to get through here in Toppenish. Perez rolling out over to his left, trying to find an open receiver, looking and finds Adrian Villanueva for a 10-yard completion.
Pass to number 4, Adrian Villanueva.
Of course, so all the Ellensburg friends up there watching, hopefully watching, will be watching at some point. Mr. Eli Jimenez, Travis Hines, and of course, everybody over there at boxing class. Hey, shout out here during the games, and of course, everybody over at Comtronic Systems, my current full-time workplace. Give a shout out to everybody over there, and of course, everybody from around the state that follows THS Digital Media Network. You may not be watching this live, but you may be watching this on the replay. Thank you so much for all the support and the love. Perez stepping up in the pocket, gonna run with it, keeps it, finding a move, and finally decides to go down after getting the first down.
First down.
And that's smart of Joshua Perez. I mean, once you get the first down, I mean, what more do you want to ask for, especially as a quarterback? This team needs you out there at that position. You do not want to risk injury. You do not want to put yourself in a dangerous position where you might get hurt. Nice job of him just getting down once he realized he had the first down. Of course, next week, homecoming for the Wildcats. Ball into the hands of Isaiah Maldonado, trying to find a lane, met in the backfield, trying to hang on to it, and brought down. A slam flag going to be called. Flag should be called. The head umpire threw that one. He saw that. That was nothing but a slam. Wrestling season's just not upon us just yet.
On the Eagles.
And you bet these Toppenish Wildcats, if they could wrestle during something like this, they would. Toppenish, a powerhouse wrestling team, both on the girls and boys side. Of course, last season for the boys, able to beat the 25th in the nation, folks, wrestling. And later on this season during the winter sports, definitely going to bring one broadcast to you for wrestling. And of course, I'm going to be on the call one way or another, and we'll bring that to you live, and hopefully you enjoy that. Definitely a bit of a production. Tony D. Dominguez, able to call many sports, almost anything. Doesn't matter. Put me in front of Mike. I'll figure it out. Perez with the snap to Ozuna. Finds some room, keeps running, past the 50, all the way near the 49-yard line. And is it going to be just enough for a first down? Let's see what the referees say. I believe so.
Good for about a 10-yard gain.
And indeed it is.
First down.
So a little under 10 minutes remaining here in the fourth quarter.
10 minutes, 37 seconds left in the fourth.
So 10:37 officially. Perez gets to Shane Rivera off the bubble screen. Working to his left side and met by a host of Connell Eagles.
Tackled by Jacob Davis.
Gain of about 8 on that one.
That's about an 8-yard gain.
Shane Rivera, only his third reception of the contest and already over 112 yards. And 1 touchdown. Again, last year, Shane Rivera being the complement to Jason Grant, who is playing college ball over at Eastern Oregon University at the NAIA level. Joshua Perez again to Anthony Ozuna, tried to make something happen.
Ozuna in on the carry.
After Clyde,
by Cade Clyde of the
making
Eagles.
a play in the backfield.
That'll make it 3rd down and about 3 to go.
3rd down and 3 to
for the
go.
Wildcats.
A lot of things still yet to happen here. Under 10 minutes remaining now here in the fourth and final quarter. Wildcats leading 27-0. And the flag again, and the Wildcats are going to make it again on to the double digits in terms of penalties. I mean, and that's just ridiculous. The way these penalties keep occurring for the Wildcats, you got to imagine that that coaching staff is not happy at all that this just keeps happening. And that's, you got to bring that back to the lack of discipline, the lack of attention, the lack of focus sometimes. You know, whether it be from your specialty players or whether it be from your offensive line, maybe even your quarterback, you have got to get that discipline down. You are not going to be able to afford to make those kinds of mistakes once you get into the postseason. Perez gets the snap. Runs around over to the right side, finds an open receiver. Shane Rivera breaks a tackle up the sideline, finding more room, gets a block near the end zone and brought inside the 5-yard line at the Brownie 2-yard line. Another great reception there for about 47 yards. Perez to Rivera. Hey, you want to talk about special teams, special duos? That's another one right there. Joshua Perez scrambling around, has to go over to his right, immediately has to improvise, finds Shane Rivera out in the open, makes one man miss, turns it up the field, and what do you know? Back into the red zone, the Wildcats are. And can the Wildcats now put it into the end zone and pretty much seal this game away, especially with under 10 remaining. 2 seconds remaining, they're going to have to get this one off. They do. And ball will be in. What is another flag? I happen to believe they got that one off.
False start.
And a false start going to be called first. And again, another penalty, 11th penalty of this contest. Only on the Wildcats. I mean, these are the small mistakes you cannot let happen, and they just keep happening. And if it were any other top team, this would definitely be biting them a lot worse than it is right now. They're definitely going to look at this film on Monday and figure out what happened, what's still happening here that's causing all these penalties. At this point, you can't really argue officiating. And a flag again.
Fumble on the play.
And what's going to happen here as it's essentially a blindside hit. The lineman coming up, trying to prevent a tackle, and just took him out. I believe it was going to be on Luna. And he's going to come out momentarily. But what a big hit there, and the referee saw that all the way. Essentially a blindside block, which is just isn't allowed anymore. And I mean, you're trying to make a play, but you got to know where you're at on the field, especially once your quarterback is in front of you, even a half a step in front of you. You just got to let go. You got to pull back. I mean, the best you can do is maybe do a basketball screen, which maybe at the high school level, that might be a pretty good rule to input. I mean, if you do not want players to engage in too heavy of a physical contact, I mean, we got to find some way to at least put up a legal block. And I think if a player were allowed to basically do a basketball screen and just stand there, I believe that should be fair play because you're just standing there, and as long as you don't lead with the shoulder, as pretty much the same as a charge. If you move a little bit or if you lean into it.
By the Eagles, and that'd be the first down for the Connell Eagles.
And so the Eagles recovered, and the second turnover for the Wildcats here tonight. Something that didn't need to happen. And Joshua Perez is going to be assessed that turnover. Fumbled the ball there at the end.
6:51
big
left
hit.
in the fourth.
Wildcats, and a penalty flag this
Flags
time.
on the play.
Who's it going to be on? It's going to be on the Eagles. That's going to send them back 5 yards. And that makes things tougher on a young quarterback in Lloyd.
That's a false start on the Eagles.
It's going to put them right back in the end zone. And the Wildcats, they can. I believe they can almost smell blood out there. Let's see what the defense is going to dial up here. Perhaps defensive corner Ivan Macias is going to send some heat back there, try to get to the quarterback.
14.
So Lloyd, and again, I believe another flag, false start again. So half the distance to the goal this time. So Connell Eagles just not able to get anything going with the opportunity that they have on the offensive side. After that fumble from Perez.
Make it first down and 16 yards.
I mean, that's just an unfortunate play. I mean, the Wildcats for sure did not want to see that turnover from Perez. But nonetheless, just an illegal hit on the other side of the field, too. And we'll see if all of those issues are going to be alleviated here. First down and about a mile to go. Quick slant and incomplete. Trying to find their receiver.
Incomplete pass intended for Jordan Mendez of the Eagles.
Jordan Mendez, the anticipated receiver on that last play. The Eagles at their own 2-yard line. Wildcats playing with some big bodies right now.
5:56 left in the fourth quarter.
Right now they're playing some of that 3-4. Given their personnel that they have right now, that's what they want to go with. And a power formation. Perhaps just trying to get some room. And Magana through the middle gains about 2.
On the carry.
It's going to put him at the 4-yard line. It's going to bring up third down and long.
Of the Wildcats.
And that gives the quarterback a little bit of breathing room. And you want to make just enough breathing room for your punter as well, which is Magana. It's been rushing okay and decently for the Connell Eagles. Unfortunately, no points on the board here in this contest. Here's we're probably coming up in a little under 5 minutes or so remaining here in this fourth and final quarter. Wildcats up 27-0. Third down and about 14 yards to go. Under center, Lloyd again tries to get a quick slant. Mendez being met by some Wildcats and brought down after about a catch of 8 yards. Going to bring up fourth down.
Anthony Ozuna of the Wildcats.
And looks like the Eagles are going to decide to punt this one away. Do you run a fake here? Do you run a fake? I don't know if you want to run a fake here in this situation, but nonetheless, it still might be possible.
Zuniga and Maldonado.
So they punt it away.
Flags on the play.
So too many men on the
4:50
field.
left in the fourth.
12 men on the field on the Wildcats, and I believe that's going to give the Eagles a fresh set of downs.
The Eagles a first down.
And it does over at the 19-yard line. Unfortunate mistake again. 12 penalties now. Well, the Wildcats penalty-wise, I mean, I guess they want to keep that double digit going. What else is just, what do you do when you just keep getting that many penalties game after game after game? An average of 9 penalties per game for the Wildcat offense and defense. Inside, Magana giving the ball.
Magana with the carry.
Gains about 5. It looks like Magana is having trouble getting to his feet.
By 63, Joaquin McCord.
So Magana been running hard here all night. And there as Toppenish High School certified athletic trainer Garrett Simpson out there to assist the injured player down on the ground. And the Connell Eagles, I mean, they had a tough season here in the first half. And it's unfortunate that this season is not going to go their way. One of the more interesting facts, though, due to the division that they play in this league, they play over on the East Division. And currently, even with their standings, this is a non-league game. So this game doesn't count in terms of their division.
And about 7 to go for the Eagles.
So even with this loss, believe it or not, this Connell team may very well end up going 4-6 and be in second place in the East and still have an opportunity to perhaps make it into the state playoffs. Forsyth to the outside, finding a lane and finally getting to the outside and getting a first down.
By number 10, Keanu Zuniga.
Keanu Zuniga coming up defensively, making the tackle. So the referees having to keep time. Our scoreboard, at least out here on the field, having some issues, technical difficulties.
.330 left in the fourth.
3:30 remaining. Ball completed. Right into the hands of the receiver there.
Completed pass to number 28, Kellen Reiner.
Kellen Reiner, the receiver. Carson Lloyd with the good pass there.
Luis Gatica on the tackle. 3:05 left.
So the backup
in the
quarterback
fourth quarter.
Was in there early on after the second series of this contest in the first quarter. And it's been his show all the way since. Unsure what happened to number 5, Messiah Allen. Perhaps an injury or something. We don't know. As soon as we know more, we'll pass that information along to you.
On the tackle.
And Elon Cripps getting there in the backfield and making a great tackle. It's going to bring up third down.
Jackson Forsyth.
Under 3 minutes remaining. And the Wildcats are pretty much smelling victory. More than likely not with the point margin that they wanted here tonight.
2:20 left in the fourth.
But a shutout, more than likely it'll be
Forsyth
here tonight.
In the backfield for the Eagles.
Carson Lloyd. Pass. Gets to his big tight end.
To Cade Clyde.
Cade Clyde.
Broken up by Anthony Ozuna of the Wildcats.
That pass is completed. Gain of about 10 yards. Fresh set of downs coming up for the Eagles.
That'll make it 1st and 10 for the Eagles. With 1:52 left in the fourth quarter.
So under 2 minutes remaining here in this contest. Wildcats leading this one all the way 27-0. And Carson Lloyd hands it on to Forsyth. Forsyth running up the middle, trying to get through a couple of tackles.
Forsyth
gains about 7 on that carry.
Tackled by Seth Ordaz. And 57, Joshua Luna.
Luna and Ordaz in on that tackle.
Number 67, Elon Cripps.
So second down and about 4 yards to go. Under 2 minutes remaining here in this contest. Wildcats so far have pitched a shutout.
1 minute left.
Carson Lloyd stepping up, being met by the Toppenish defense. And Seth Ordaz, the first to get
Tackled
there.
by a whole lot of Wildcats. Number 67, Elon Cripps in the middle of the pile.
Elon Cripps also in on that play. And third down and about 7 yards to go.
That'll make it about third down and 6 to go.
The Wildcats, you got to figure they really want to
the
get this
Eagles,
stop, even though they're underneath 2 minutes remaining
left
here in the fourth quarter.
In the
I
fourth.
think they want to put up a little bit more points, make this a very convincing win. Let's see if they get the opportunity, if they are able to get a stop here in the next 2 plays. Lloyd being rushed, ball on the ground.
Lloyd back to
Wildcats
pass.
are
Looks like
almost on top of it, I believe. There's a flag on the play as well, but that ball was clearly out. And that penalty
recovery.
does not affect the Wildcats, and the Wildcats gain possession. And let's see what they're going to do. Perhaps they're going to try to get another point, another attempt at the end zone. We're at around 1 minute or so remaining here in the fourth
Defense
quarter.
with another beautiful play to give their offense a first down and 10.
So first down and 10. Joshua Perez is still out there. And looks like the Wildcats are going to just kneel this one, and indeed they are.
Perez kneels, and that's your ball game.
And that's the end of the contest.
Connell 0, and your top
Final score,
27.
27-0. Wildcats pitch a shutout here tonight. Scoring leaders, receiving leaders, let's check that out. And of course, all these numbers are, of course, rough numbers, rough estimates. Joshua Perez passing for almost 300 yards and
Don't forget next week on Friday,
4 touchdowns.
For your Toppenish Wildcats against LaSalle.
Of course, Joshua Perez distributing the ball all over the place. Adrian Villanueva with 1, Shane Rivera with 1, Timmy Torres with another.
That'll give your Wildcats a
And
5-1 record going
all
into
of
the
those
next game.
lead to this final score live here
Once
from
again,
Toppenish,
that's Friday
Washington.
against LaSalle.
Wildcats
Home game.
27 to
Drive
nothing
safe.
over
Till next
the
time.
second place in the East of the SCAC, the Connell Eagles. Anyways, folks, programming note, Wildcats are right back here at home next week. It's their homecoming, and you bet we're going to have some good festivities here at Wildcat Stadium on Bob Winters Field. So much more to come. And then after that contest versus LaSalle, traveling over to the Natchez Valley Rangers home field over there in Natchez, Washington. Fortunately, not going to be broadcasting that game just yet, or more than likely not going to be, so we'll take a break after that one. But finally, to end the year, the big rivalry game, the I-82 rivalry between the Toppenish Wildcats and the Zilla Leopards to end the season, at least the season on the west side of the division here in the SCAC. Anyways, folks, it's been a great game. Wildcats with another win, 27-0, pitching the shutout. Player of the game, of course, Joshua Perez with 4 total touchdowns, close to 300 yards through the air. And for Shane Rivera with 4 catches for over 115 yards. Didn't take that much. And, of course, a touchdown to himself as well. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us here tonight. We hope you enjoyed this contest. Hope you tune in next week. Homecoming, Toppenish Wildcats hosting the LaSalle Lightning live here from Toppenish, Washington, here at Wildcat Stadium. Kickoff scheduled for 7 p.m. We hope you tune in then, and we hope you keep coming back and watching more THS digital media content. And make sure to like, subscribe, and follow, and never miss out on another THS digital media event. Anyways, my name is Antonio Tony D. Dominguez. Thank you for joining us. Final score, 27-0. Wildcats pitching the shutout. Get the win here tonight. Have a good night, and God bless. See you out there.